A very good morning. You're watching News 9 with me, Akshita, and first up is the big news that we are tracking this hour. The place was full of blood. Cries and wails reached the air. When the neighbors rushed in, they saw something that will take years for them to digest. In what comes as a shocker, a father murdered his own daughters. Here's a report.
In what comes as appalling, a father butchered his own daughters in Tunganagar.
ಅಯ್ಯೋ ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳೇ ಯಾಕೋ ಕತ್ತರಿಸಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ನೆ ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳೇ ಯಾಕೋ ಕತ್ತರಿಸಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ನೆ ಅವನು ಏನಾಯ್ತು ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳೇ ಯಾಕೋ ಕತ್ತರಿಸಾಕದವನೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲಲ್ವಾ ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಏನ ಗಲಾಟೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವೇ ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಹೊಡಿತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವನು ಇವತ್ತೇನಾಯ್ತು ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಯಾಕೋ ಕತ್ತರಿಸಾಕದವನೋ ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಪ್ಪ ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಕತ್ತರಿಸಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಕತ್ತರಿಸಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ನೆ ಸರ್ ಏನು ಜಗಳ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನೋ ಜಗಳ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಳಂದ್ರೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇತ್ತು ಅವನಿಗೆ ಮಕ್ಳಂದ್ರೆ ಆಟೋ ಡ್ರೈವರ್ ಅವನು ಆಟೋ ಡ್ರೈವರ್ ನಾನು ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ನಾನು ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದೆ ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಳು ಸಾಯಕ್ ಬಿಡ್ತೀನ ಅಯ್ಯೋ ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಳನ್ನ ಸಾಯಕ್ ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಳನ್ನ ಕಾಪಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಕೆಲ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗೇ ಇರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ ಮಕ್ಳ ಜೊತೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗೇ ಇರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ ಇವತ್ತೇನಾಯ್ತು ಅವನು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಬಂದವನು ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಳು ಏನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಳು ಯಾಕೆ ಸಾಯಿಸಿದವನು ನನಗೇನಕ್ಕೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ನನಗೇನೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ.
Truly, it can't get any worse. A mother sobbing over the death of her dear daughters will literally bring tears in your eyes. This man that you see on your screens is Ramesh, a father of 3 daughters. Ramesh worked as an auto driver. He had a family of 4, a wife and 3 daughters to take care of. Time 7 p.m. Last evening, when his wife was not at home, Ramesh did something that will send shivers down the spine. My colleague Deepak was at the spot, detailing everything.
We're standing here at the second cross in Tunganagar, and this area is witnessing an eerie silence because of the double murder that took place, a shocking murder where a father claimed the life of 2 of his daughters here. The incident took place at about 7 o'clock when Annapurnamma here, the owner of the house, heard loud noises coming from the first floor. That's when she rushed on top to see what's happening. When she went to the house, and if you could notice, she walked up the stairs, went to the house. She noticed him trying to lock the doors in a hurry. That's when she asked him what is exactly happening. He panicked, ran out of the house, didn't come here for half an hour. When she walked in, she found the 3 of the children lying in a pool of blood. 2 of them were killed by this father. Another daughter was severely injured. About half an hour after this, this man who ran out of this place came back. By this time the police had arrived, the neighbors had called in for the ambulance and also for help from the police as well. He came here amidst the people, sat down at that particular spot. He didn't know what to do. Probably the guilt of killing his own children overtook him. He came back after actually assaulting himself. He was severely bleeding in his head with a handkerchief tied on his head, came and sat here.
Yes, Ramesh hacked his own daughters. While 2 succumbed to injuries at the spot, the eldest is battling for life in a private hospital, while the corpses of the 2 girls have been sent to Victoria Hospital. Well, it is said that daughters are close to their fathers, while sons are closer to their mothers. But why would a father hack his own daughters to death? That too, most mercilessly. Prima facie, it is speculated that Ramesh did not have sufficient earnings to make ends meet. Moreover, he was in a lot of debt. Another point that is doing the rounds here is that Ramesh was upset that he did not have a son. Combined with this aspect is a school of thought that he had to spend a lot on the marriages of his daughters, which was too much for him to stomach. Ultimately, he took the extreme step of butchering his own daughters. But let's reiterate that these are all speculations, and only a fair probe will unearth the truth. But whatever the reason, it is heart-wrenching that he took the decision to axe his own daughters, that too at a time when his wife and their mother was absent. These visuals of the mother and the spot of murder sum it all. Truly melancholic. Deepak Bopanna, News 9, Bengaluru.
And moving on, the Kochi-New Delhi Air India flight AI407 made an emergency landing at the Kempegowda International Airport late last night. The plane was stopped for a security check after the Kochi airport received a call from a stranger. The Air India flight made the emergency landing at 9:54 p.m. All passengers are reported to be safe. The bomb squad carried out inspections soon after the plane landed. It will leave for New Delhi later today. There were 156 passengers on board the flight when the call was made. And well, the decision by the government to hike the prices of petrol and diesel has been met by protests in Bengaluru. The members of Congress staged a protest at HP petrol bunk near Ashok Nagar. The protest, which began at midnight near Ashok Nagar, went on till early in the morning. The Congress workers were seen demanding an immediate rollback of the fuel hike and blamed Prime Minister Modi. They said that Modi had made big promises before the polls but was unable to live up to them. And while Bengaluru saw a number of trees being uprooted due to the heavy rains witnessed last night, areas like JP Nagar, Banashankari and Rajaji Nagar were the worst affected. As the incident took place late in the night, no casualties were reported, but it is expected to cause traffic congestions this morning. The residents of Jai Bhuvaneshwari Nagar stationed themselves in front of the Karnataka Slum Clearance Board office in Sheshadripuram for a protest. The residents have urged the officials to find an alternate housing arrangement for them. This comes after the recent incident where the board had cleared the place in Siddhapura where they were living. It is said the residents had come to meet the officials, but as none of them met the residents, they decided to spend the night in front of the office. Well, the Aam Aadmi Party is on a revamping spree. The party is now doing all they can to establish their stronghold in the national capital.
Aam Aadmi Party is now focusing all its energies towards the Delhi Assembly. Kejriwal is also not shying away from accepting that he committed a blunder by dissolving the Assembly. Arvind Kejriwal revealed on Google Hangout that the party will not be contesting in the Maharashtra and Haryana Assembly elections. But the party doesn't seem to be too happy over Kejriwal's decision.
See, that's a thought process which is going on in the party. Party has not taken any final decision. And I think the party will sit and party will discuss and then will come to the conclusion.
Another reason for this decision is the lack of funds. After the Lok Sabha elections, the party's treasury was almost empty and they have no option but to focus all their money on one state. But after making a mark in Delhi, AAP has also set its eyes on Karnataka. They are planning to strengthen their hold in the state before the next assembly elections.
This is not a decision of Aam Aadmi Party. It was a Google Hangout wherein a question was asked by volunteers and Mr. Arvind Kejriwal gave his personal opinion that as per his understanding, it's better if we focus all our energies in Delhi if we really want to win the Delhi elections. So he's already clarified it's not party decision, his own personal view.
Better late than never is what we would like to say. AAP is certainly trying to regain lost ground and change its approach. What we will have to see now is whether the people of Delhi will be swayed by the revamped party. Sanjay Dikshit, News 9, New Delhi.
Moving on, this case from Chikmagalur had left the entire state in shock. The murders have finally been convicted and the quantum of punishment will be announced today.
The picture you see on your screen is that of Dilip, a resident of Chikmagalur. He was an engineering student. Love life too was blooming. He was in love with this girl, Meenakshi.
She is like a raindrop falling on my heart.
The two were in a relation for 2 long years, but everything changed in 2013. Meenakshi's parents decided to get her married to Pratap, and that's when all the trouble started. Like most of you would have guessed, Dilip did not take any extreme step. It was Meenakshi and her fiancé who did the unthinkable. Fearing interference in the married life, Meenakshi and Pratap hatched a plan so brutal that it shook the entire Karnataka. Meenakshi and Pratap got together and murdered Dilip on Valentine's Day. The duo hit him on his head with an iron rod and disposed his body near a bridge on the outskirts of Chikmagalur. A team under the leadership of Deputy SP Chikmagalur investigated the case and nabbed the 5 accused. 5 accused have now been convicted. After trial of over a year, the Sessions Court finally found them guilty on charges of murder, criminal conspiracy and destruction of evidence. The 5 accused have been convicted for their crimes. The Sessions Court will give the quantum of punishment today. So what could be the quantum of punishment? Will they be sent to the gallows? Considering that the criminals hatched a very meticulous plan to get rid of him and cleverly executed it, the main accused Meenakshi and Pratap could very well be facing capital punishment. The crime was a premeditated one and executed in the goriest of fashions. What could work against them is the fact that the duo even tried to destroy evidence. Could it be lifer for the duo? The probability of a lifer is bleak considering the seriousness of the crime. The defense lawyer has clearly failed to prove their innocence, following which the court has convicted them. What about the accomplices? Meenakshi and Pratap were helped by Parmesh, Narsimha Raju and Vinay. Considering that they are not the main accused in the case, they could be given a life sentence. There are chances that the accomplices could be sent to prison for the rest of their life or for 17 years depending on the evidence against them. In all, it was a crime that shocked one and all. What made the crime even gorier was the fact that Dilip was murdered on Valentine's Day. The final judgment will be awaited by many as it would send a strong message across to those who have indulged in such crimes. Shantinath Jain for News 9, Chikmagalur.